I was just letting out a big sigh then. Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the Fintech Show. Where does the time go? I can't believe we're up to episode 5 already. So thanks for joining us. Again, if you're a regular viewer, then welcome back. Nice to see you. If this is your first time, we don't always dress like this, but we always have a little bit of Fintech Friday fun. But more on the shirt later. It all does make sense, trust me. Now, today we're going to be talking all things fintech with a little dash of insurtech, and we're looking at some great content from the current May issues of Fintech Magazine and Insurtech Magazine, and we'll be looking ahead to June, the June issues, which will be out as early as next week. Now, joining me as ever is the King of Swing, the Prince of Pop, the Sultan of Soul, Editor-in-Chief, Mr. Will Girling. How you doing, Will?
Very well, Scott. I'm glad you got my proper title, the Edward of Fintech.
I know. I was so concerned about the big build-up that I almost gave you your false designation. So I do apologise. I can only try and do better next time. Now, in case you're wondering why I'm dressed in such a flamboyant way, I was on a call with our chief producer earlier, and he did say to me, Scott, I hope you're going to put a jacket on and a shirt for today's show. So you can't say I didn't do that. So let's move on because we've got lots to do today. But first things first, as the saying goes. I don't know what that actually means. Later on in the show, we have our now traditional game, which is the end of the show, and I'm looking for one brave individual to come on and join us live and to take on the mighty, which way? That way, the mighty Will Girling. If anyone feels that they can take on Will Girling in a quiz of 60s pop music, because that is his preferred specialised subject, if you feel you know more about 60s pop music than Will Girling, then come on then, come and have a go. Put your money where your mouth is and come and have a go against Will. We'll be doing that in about half an hour, so if you want to take part in the quiz, just go to the comments section just to the side of the screen or underneath and post quiz. It's as simple as that. 4 letters, 1 word, quiz. So post that and then we'll see if we can work some magic and see if we can get you into the show later on. Okay, I think that's all. So let's hope the technology holds up because we've had a few issues with the internet this week. And to start off, let's kick on with a look at... oh no, we're not going to take a look at the news. We're also going to mention the poll that we have running, Will. So tell me about that, because that's something that the viewers can also vote in right now.
Yeah, indeed. So this week we've gone with who do you think will win the Battle of the Banks? Now, this poll's only been up for a day, Scott, and we've already had some really good engagement with it. In fact, I'd like to go through a couple of the comments because, we try and make these things as simple as possible so people can quickly respond to it. But a lot of people are pointing out that it's a very nuanced question. So, for instance, Philip Jones said he doesn't think there can be a clear winner. The only winner will be the customer. Well, I suppose if you're a customer, then it's all good from there. And elsewhere, Tyler Hune says that he thinks that maybe everybody, that being banks of both sorts, challengers and incumbents, together with technology companies, will actually come together, and it'll just be like a big free-for-all. Everybody is going to be winning at the same time. So there might not be any winners or losers, but merely one great big victory for everybody.
One great big victory for everybody. That sounds like a great sort of socialist mantra. I like the sounds of that. Okay, so if you want to go and there's still time to go and have your say in that poll. So head to LinkedIn, and if you're not sure where our LinkedIn page is, or if you're not sure where all of this glorious content is that we're going to be talking about today, you can of course visit our websites, and hopefully we can just pop those up on the screen in a jiffy, so to speak. Why don't you tell us what they are, Will?
So what the LinkedIn links, you mean?
No, the URLs for our glorious websites. Why don't you tell us what they are?
Well, I mean, they're self-explanatory. For Fintech Magazine, it's fintechmagazine.com, and for Insurtech Digital, insurtechdigital.com.
It's as simple as that. Okay, right. So let's. There we go. FintechMagazine.com and InsurTechDigital.com. As I said at the top of the show, we are having a few gremlins this week in our little distributions out to the world of the internet. So let's crack on now with a look at the latest fintech news. Okay, Will, I'm going to leave this to you. Actually, I believe that the first story you're going to talk about is something to do, well, it's banking related again, and it's European banking.
That's right. Yeah, it's all about the banks in the news this week. I think probably the main story that caught my eye was that apparently UK banking, specifically the kind of the things that they're financing, are actually tripling the UK's annual CO2 emissions. Now, that was pretty surprising to me, because if you actually added it all together, and I think it comes to something over 800 million tons of CO2 per year, that sector alone, if it was a country, would be more polluting than Germany or Canada. So it goes to show that although there's lots of banks have got these measures where they're saying they're gonna be curbing emissions, they're going to be changing their investment approaches, there's still a lot more they can do. In fact, the people who compiled this report, which was the WWF and Greenpeace, say maybe the time has come to kind of stop voluntary measures, that the time has come to get really tough on climate change, and banks should actually be legislated against. Like, they need to be told, like, we need to cut this down. I guess when you're talking numbers this big, that argument becomes a little bit more persuasive.
So what I'm trying to get my head around this. So what are they actually in? Are you saying it's what they're investing in that's actually tripling the CO2 emissions?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no one's suggesting the banks themselves are shoveling loads of coal into big old chimneys. It's literally the industries they're giving money to, which is the problem. I know that in the insurance world, for instance, Lloyd's have said that they're going to curb the amount of fossil fuel companies that they provide coverage to. I think by 2030, they're going to stop it entirely. Basically, what Greenpeace and WWF are advocating for is that banking should do something similar. It should be taking all its money out of these things and funneling it into green initiatives and green energy instead.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking about this in one of our sister shows yesterday, I think it was actually, the supply chain show. And we were saying how all of this really relates to ce word du jour, because I do like to slip a bit of French into the conversation every now and again, as you know. And rather conveniently, I suppose, that brings me on to the fact that we are actually launching a sustainability magazine in July, as early as July. Because we recognise it's the one topic that every organisation around the world is absolutely red hot on right now, and rightly so. And obviously it does cover things like the environment and CO2 and net zero, but obviously it's a lot broader than that as well. And sustainability is about diversity, it's about inclusion, and so many other essential things these days for any company to consider. So that's actually coming up in July. But no, that is interesting. Because also I do think that it does relate to that sustainability issue, but it does go to prove as well that sometimes we feel that these organisations are doing things the right way, but when you actually dig a little bit deeper, you realise that they're proving more of a hindrance rather than a solution to some of these problems.
Well, indeed, quite. And I mean, that wasn't even that wasn't the kind of, well, would you call it the biggest story? It's definitely very big, but what I wanted to bring this back to is European banking is showing some of the most interesting activity. Sometimes it's for better and sometimes it's for worse, but another one that caught my eye was that Aegis Bank, which is a Milan-based bank, has had to be liquidated. It was ordered to by the Bank of Italy because of its connection to something which our viewers will be very familiar with by now, which is Greensill. I think we mention it every episode, but it's just one of those things which keeps going and going, and everything it touches it's King Midas in reverse. Honestly, everything it touches doesn't turn into gold; it turns into the opposite. And yeah, it's one of those things which keeps on reverberating, and I just don't know where it's going to stop, honestly, Scott.
I do remember, you're absolutely right. We have talked about this even from the original episode 1. I remember we talked about Greensill. So I wonder how many episodes this is going to rumble on for. But yeah, the fallout from this and the impact is clearly it's going to continue. It's not over, as we keep saying. This one is going to run and run. Oh, I'm just looking at the end there. Oh, yes, so we are inviting people to come and have a go at the end of the show. I don't know if we've had any interest as yet. I know we have our production team in the background, and they are monitoring the Tefalones right now to see if anyone is dialing in. So let's move on to another news story then, Will. And this is IPO, another buzzword. All I seem to be talking about at the moment is IPOs. I mean, are IPOs suddenly more prevalent, or is it just that we seem to be taking more notice of them? I mean, it seems that every company at the moment, it's just all about the IPO. So tell me about this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. So this IPO in particular is by Flywire. It's a company which has existed for over 10 years now. The piece which I actually wrote today kind of explored this as a timeline going from its very origins to the present day. As you say, IPOs, particularly in the fintech world, they're definitely a much more frequent occurrence than they used to be. The reasons for that I'm still not totally kind of clear on. It's something I definitely want to be investigating in the future. But what really struck me about this story is even though Flywire has managed to achieve a very handsome valuation, 3.5 billion, it's still unprofitable. The CEO actually announced that they're losing, I think, 9.7 million in 2019 at least, and I don't think they've reached profitability yet. I think we're seeing kind of the downside of these fintechs going for big IPOs, focusing all this energy onto growth and short-term customer acquisition, but it's not making any money, which is obviously, this is another kind of sustainability issue. This is perhaps a symptom of fintech still being a relatively new and fresh kind of industry, but it's something which a lot of businesses are going to have to really get a tackle on if they're going to survive into the next decade.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is definitely something that we should look into a bit more, and I'd be really interested to know what our viewers and what our audience think about this as well, because I think you're absolutely right. Some of the valuations that we're seeing for companies do seem massively inflated, and well, you only have to look at things like, was it Deliveroo that had that IPO, a rather disastrous IPO recently, and obviously they were still operating at a huge loss, I think, and then obviously you got people like Tesla. There's a money sink, isn't there? You just watch the value of Tesla shares go right down now that I've said that. You know, Elon Musk can tweet about a cryptocurrency. I can diss Tesla. You watch those shares. You mark my words. They're going down 5 percentage points now. We've said that today, Will. Which because that is the power of the fintech show. So let's talk about the top 10 unusual cryptocurrencies. Tell me about these.
Yeah, well, there's been so much talk about cryptocurrencies lately. I mean, our good friend Mr. Musk, he's had his finger in the till when it comes to crypto, and I compiled this top 10 because...
Whoa! Can I just butt in there?
Yeah.
Just for legal reasons, can we just say finger in the till? That doesn't suggest that he's stealing from anybody. If you have the hand in the till, then you're thieving, and that's not what we're saying at all. Correct?
Indeed. No, I meant to just say that he is deeply involved in cryptocurrency.
Fingers in pies. Pies.
That's the one. I knew he had his fingers in something, but you know. So basically, I wanted to compile this list because in cryptocurrency, you can basically do something which you could never do with fiat currency, you know, paper and coins, which is basically create your own, and people will actually take it seriously. I mean, you could make some Scott Birch dollars and you could try flogging them, but I don't think many people would take it up. But when I look through this list, we have some very unusual ones. We have things like Mooncoin. This is an altcoin which is specifically the supply of Mooncoin is basically based on the average distance between the Earth and the Moon, which means its supply is not infinite, but it means that there is a lot of them. Apart from that, it's pretty much a general cryptocurrency, but as you go through the list, you'll notice they keep getting stranger and stranger. We have ones dedicated to former US President Donald Trump. We have one dedicated to Vladimir Putin, one that's based on the H.P. Lovecraft story Call of Cthulhu. We have Dogecoin, of course, that one needs no introduction. And then we have, I think, what the creme de la creme, which is the useless Ethereum token, which basically the person who created it with the intention that it would be completely worthless, and they're very upfront with the fact that this will accrue no value and yet people still buy it. It's just one of those crazy things about the crypto communities, which is it's really inexplicable, and it's really fresh, and it's a bit of a wild west at the moment, but really fun to read about. And I think anyone who's in for a bit of a surreal afternoon should take that list and have fun with it.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I know we'll be talking about cryptocurrency throughout the show, actually, because there's a few points we're going to make there. But no, you're right. It does seem weird. I think Wild West is probably a good way of describing the general crypto market at the moment. Obviously, there's lots of fortunes to be made and there's fortunes to be lost. So let's move on, and I think now we've got Will's big question. But before we see that, I think I'll let you introduce this one, Will. Why don't you go ahead?
Sure. So for my big question this week, we're going to be speaking to Petr Koziakov. He is the co-founder and CEO of Mercurio. The big question is, well, actually, I don't need to tell you, because me, a very tired looking me in this video, is going to be explaining that for everybody right now. To what degree can or should cryptocurrencies be adopted by governments and banks? Petr, what's your take on that?
I think that crypto is here for a long time, and the governments and banks definitely feel the same. Sure, they have some anxiety about crypto because this is not the thing that they are used to. Usually they deal with some currencies that are regulated by somebody, that are backed by somebody, and here they get the instrument that is really decentralized, the currency that's really managed and governed by just algorithms, and anyone can really access it and start making transactions inside it. So when they just think overall, they're really frightened about it. And that's why governments and banks are going different ways. For example, some governments are okay with crypto, and they are even providing crypto regulations for crypto companies. But to be honest, they are not really welcome. The crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other one. But what they really think about crypto, they think about some compromise when they can take all the best from crypto, these online settlements, really fast and cheap, this transparency, the opportunity to trace transactions, to monitor them finally, and combine it with regulation, combine it with centrally issued instruments, and back this instrument. And finally, we get central bank digital currency, CBDC, which is a really interesting theme at the moment. I would say that around 86% of the bank are exploring at the moment the opportunity to deal with CBDC. And this is really nice, but we should understand this is not the real crypto and the crypto that we are used to.
Well, there you go. Comprehensive answer once more. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Will's big questions really do get some big answers, don't they?
You know
They really do. Yeah, absolutely. We really need to do some work on the editing of those bad boys. Okay, well, no, that's really interesting. And it also brings me on to a point I was going to make, because this is a story that I read this week as well. And it was about China. I'm talking about regulations. China clamping down on crypto mining. Now, the reason why this is significant is, well, for one thing, the Chinese government has said, you've got to stop doing that. And of course, they're all stopping doing it. So take Inner Mongolia, for instance, right? Inner Mongolia, you may snigger. Wait till you hear these stats. So 8% of the world's crypto is mined in Inner Mongolia, or rather was mined, because now they've stopped. Now, to put that into context, 8%, that's more than the entire US crypto mining. So that's just in Inner Mongolia. And I also saw there was a story today actually updating that Iran has halted crypto mining as well. And I thought, well, okay, well, that's Iran. Surely that's not going to be very significant. But apparently, according to blockchain analytics firm Elliptic, between January and April of this year, 4.5% of all Bitcoin mining was happening in Iran. So if you take that 4.5% from Iran, and if you take 8% from Inner Mongolia, and whatever percent is going to account for the rest of China, all of a sudden, people aren't mining as much crypto. So what would that do? I mean, what's that going to do to prices, for instance, of valuations? I don't know. Does that mean that the values are going to shoot up, or does it mean that they're going to come down?
Yeah, I mean, I've read similar things, not related to this, but a lot of people are worried about, is the crypto market now so big that any kind of big change would cause almost like a kind of run on the bank situation? I don't know if it's quite that big. I think it's not yet reached 2 trillion in value. But regardless, what you're saying there, it just kind of underscores how much crypto is changing how things used to operate. Like, we're no longer focused on kind of big financial centers like New York or London. We're going into the recesses of Mongolia and Iran. Like, it's this is the exciting thing about it. Like, it's changing finance completely.
Absolutely. I just want to see a few comments. Some comments have come in. I don't know if anyone has actually challenged you to quiz yet. Do you know what, Will? I can see somebody, but it says it's that classic person, LinkedIn user. LinkedIn user is challenging you to the quiz. I'll just say some quick hellos. Let's pick out a few here from around the globe. I was just about to pick Fabiano. What are the odds on that? Hi, Fabiano. Nice to see you. We have a few other people around as well. Who have we got here? Adina. Hi, Adina from Brighton, UK. Are we going to have any more? Nah, I think that's where we're going to leave it. Okay, more on those later. Anyway, I thought that was really interesting, because the other thing is, now let me get this stat right. This is still talking about crypto mining. The amount of energy that it uses. So I think it was Cambridge University. They have what do they call it? They have like a faculty or something dedicated to this, and it was something like the amount of energy that is involved in crypto mining is more energy than is used by Argentina, for instance, or the Ukraine. So if you add up all of the energy that Argentina uses, a huge country, or Ukraine, they don't use as much as crypto. And you think of crypto as maybe it's just computers, right? It's just computers. How much energy because they actually use? But obviously it's incredible, absolutely monster. Okay. I think we should move on, because we've talked for 23 minutes already. Wowzers. Ooh. Okay, so I know. So still to come. It's the last chance to grab some of the content from this issue. We haven't even got around to the magazine yet, but we're going to be showcasing some of the content from the May issue of Fintech. We're going to be talking about our live events, which are coming up in London later this year. We've got the launch of the top 100 leaders in Fintech. It just keeps giving. And then we have the end of the show, and we'll find out if anybody is brave enough to take on Will Girling in a pop quiz. So don't go away. We'll see you after the break. Yes, we will. Do you know what? It looks like we don't want to do a break today. Should we just carry on and do a break in a bit, or should we have a break? I was gonna have a nice, refreshing drink of water. Do you know what, Will? It looks like we're carrying on, so let's just
soldier on. Yeah.
So that was the break. Welcome back. Hey, welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a chance to, stretch your legs, maybe get a cool, refreshing drink, things like that. So still to come. Well, you know what's still to come, because I just told you. So let's move on. So we're going to talk about the current issue of the magazine. Oh, hang on. There's word from BizClick HQ. Yeah, we do have a few technical issues. I mean, I don't know if viewers have noticed, but there have been a few technical issues there. But yeah, we're going to talk about the next issue, the current issue of Fintech, and we were going to talk about one of the profile stories that we had in the magazine. I'm not quite sure if we're able to get the video content live at the minute, Will, but if we are, then let's watch the video first and then talk about it, rather than disappoint everybody by saying here's what you could have won and then not showing the video. So if we do have the BSF video lined up, could we have that, please? I'm guessing that's a no. Okay, so what are you doing this weekend, Will? Any plans?
I'm going to be exploring the wonderful world of wine, thanks to the editorial staff at BizClick Media. It's going to be wonderful.
Indeed. And when he says thanks to the staff of BizClick Media, we made some suggestions from the editorial team of great wines that Will could treat himself to and sample over the weekend. Nobody has been gifting Will wine, despite him dropping numerous clues this week of, oh, what's a good wine I can try. No one actually realised what he was trying to achieve. Maybe apart from myself. Okay, now I just need to check my private chat a second, guys. Okay, technical issues, they say, and they can't see anything. Oh, well, we're just going to have to soldier on because we don't have any break. It doesn't look like we're able to show that video. So I'll just talk to you about a few things and we'll see if this all settles down. So as I mentioned before the break that never was, we are launching a new supplement which is coming out later this year. Now, if you saw our top 100 women in fintech, that was a supplement that we produced in March to coincide with International Women's Day. Well, we're doing a similar kind of thing again. This is going to be in September time, and it's a supplement called the Top 100 Leaders in Fintech. Now, as usual, you have the chance to have your say and to nominate the great and the good that you feel deserve a place on our list. Nominations are now open, so you can go and have your say and cast your nominations. So hopefully, if you look in our comments, you should be able to find the link there. Or if not, if you go to our websites, I don't know if anyone could hear me. If you go to our websites, then you can find all the information there. Okay, now we do have a trailer for that as well, but it looks like we're going to have to make it up. So, Will, do you want to sort of reenact what the trailer is? Should we just, should we make it up as we go along? No, probably a bad idea.
I was going to get into an interpretive dance.
Oh, come on then, please do, because I'm sure we'd all like to see that. Go ahead.
Fintech Leaders 100 now coming autumn. How was that?
That went a lot better than I'd hoped, actually. I could smell disaster at one stage, but I'm glad to say your interpretive powers were strong, my friend. So that's very good. Okay, there must be something else we can talk about without having video to interrupt us, I'm sure. Okay, it's let me see. We've talked about that, and we talked about that. Well, Will, I think I'm just going to have to cut straight to the end of the show, because in many ways it feels like there is the end of the show because where's our team gone? Where's our backroom staff? I'm sure they're tapping away there trying to help us out. Oh, hang on, there's someone here's got a question. Can you see that question from Fabiano, Will? Maybe we can answer that. There we go. So I'll read out the question. Fabiano says, I have a question, which is good. With countries like China and Iran that are political position contrary of many of West countries having a heavy contribution on crypto marketing, can countries like the US and UK try to boycott as they did in the past? Oof. Will, any comment?
That's a pretty heavy question. I suppose that they could. I mean, I really am not very well versed in the kind of geopolitical complexities of that kind of situation. But again, it's just another kind of market. I see no reason why there couldn't be restrictions if they wanted to apply them. But I'm afraid, Fabiano, I'd need to look into it a little bit more before I could give you a more educated answer than that.
It does seem that there may be some other factors at play. I mean, for instance, when China announced that it was going to be stopping the crypto, it was essentially said it's because it was using up so much energy and they're trying to be more sustainable, which you got to think, I'm not quite sure about that. I mean, there might well be reasons that they might want to try and maybe manipulate the market or cause some tension between the US, for instance, but again, we shouldn't probably go too much into that. It's pure speculation. Okay, Will, I think what I'm going to do, unless I'm going to have one more shot at trying to get some video up here, because Kieran Waite, our esteemed producer, clearly can hear what we're saying because he did put up that question for us. So, Kieran, if you've got any video up there at all that we haven't seen yet, now is your time, my friend.
BSF is now the oldest bank in Saudi Arabia. It's got probably some of the boldest organic ambitions you could imagine. The data science capability that we've built is really ramping up versus what we're doing in blockchain, for instance. So we've put infrastructure in place. We've hired extremely good talent around that. We're consistently and constantly building new use cases to be able to do that. The battle for experienced digital talent is one that's being fought all over the world because the talent's scarce and it's also in demand. But if you add our regional lens over this, and that scarcity is magnified 10x. So to get around this, we've imported the world's best and we develop Saudi's best right next to them. One of the big things that we're doing this year, we're going to be launching our very own digital engineering apprenticeship, which will create the next generation of truly world-class front and back-end engineers, platforming. We're putting also a lot of work into UX and UI specialisms and the next generation product designers as well.
There you see, it was worth waiting for, wasn't it? Had to do a quick costume change there because I was getting a bit warm under the studio lights here in Shed Studios. So, Will, why don't you tell us what we've just seen?
Yeah, well, this is one I just wanted to highlight because, you know, in a lot of the show, we've been talking about banks and how they could do things differently. When I was speaking to Mike Cunningham there at BSF, it became very clear that that bank is one which is doing things right. And I like that it's a bank which it thinks more like a startup than it does a big bank, even though it is, for all intents and purposes, very much part of the Saudi Arabian society. You know, it's been there for a number of years, very well trusted and respected institution, and yet it can still think very young. And I think more importantly, things like CX, customer experience, they're becoming more and more important in finance. They're becoming a key way of actually differentiating businesses. So the fact that this company can think smart, it can think small, but it's not small as in you know, diminutive, but small as in local. It can really get into the heads of its customers, and it can find out what they want, and it can target its products and its services specifically to them. I think that's what we're going to see a lot more of as time goes on. We're going to see a lot more banks actually shaping their products around customer specific needs as data becomes a lot more kind of extractable and it becomes a lot more usable. So we're going to get things which are a lot more relevant to people's lives. We're going to get services which actually, you know, they're giving back as much as they're putting in, and it's I think it's going to be an exciting time in banking. I think anyone who wants to get a future snapshot of what the industry is going to be like can learn a little bit from this profile.
Okay, cool. And obviously that profile is in the current May issue of the magazine. And I should say that even though we're getting towards the end of May now, even when the June issue comes out, you can still go back and you can read all of our back issues just by visiting our websites. And if we can have the websites up along the bottom, please, then you can see everything there. You can find all our news, all our analysis, and all our magazines. There you go. fintechmagazine.com and insurtechdigital.com as well. Now, earlier on, during our little technical experimentation phase, I was telling you about the top 100 leaders in fintech. Now, we're actually going to be announcing the results of that at our live event. This is Fintech and InsurTech Live. Now, this is new for this year, and this is something we're launching, and it's going to be taking place in London later this year. And I think, oh no, there we go. We're going to do the top 100 leaders. So there you go. Maybe that's been brought up because it says October. Maybe I got the dates wrong. I think it probably did. So we're doing that in October. So Kieran, if you can hear me, if you can cue up the trailer for the show, please, because we'll have a quick chat about that as well. There you go. Apologies, I did get my dates wrong. There is a reason why. That's because we're doing a top 100 leaders in technology as well, and that's in September. So, you know, we can't, you know,
Getting your children mixed up here, Scott.
Times have changed, you see, in this post-COVID environment. We're only human. If we didn't make mistakes, if things didn't go ever so slightly, you know, not to plan, it looked like it was too slick. People might not believe that this is live, Will, because it's so professional. It's normally so polished. They think, oh yeah, those guys must be doing it like hours in advance and getting it all edited. This magic doesn't come easy, guys, I'm telling you. Okay, so there we go. So now they will be releasing more details of that event. Excuse me, more details of that event on our website, in our magazines, in the days, weeks and months to come. But we're going to be having dozens and dozens of speakers, keynotes, roundtables, and of course for anybody that can make it to the actual physical event in London, key networking opportunities as well. So stay tuned for that. It really is going to be a gathering of the great and the good of fintech and insurtech, of course. Okay, so moving on. I think we're almost time for the end of the show, but I don't think anybody, Will, has had the mustard to come and take you on the pop quiz.
Well, you know, I cut a very intimidating figure, Scott, so that's not entirely surprising.
Well, this is true, and believe it or not, Will is only 5'2" tall. You can't see that. You can't see that where he's sat, but he's a wee little fella. So when he says he's intimidating, believe me, he really is. You know, me being 6'4" myself, I try not to look down on him. I try not to look down on him too much. Anyway, so it's that time. It's that time again. We finally got there. It's what we've all been waiting for, or at least Will has. It's the end of the show. Oh, I do love that. Now, anyone who is not a regular viewer of this fine, polished, professional performance will realise that this is our regular little bit of Fintech Friday Fun, where we take a well-known game show, or in this case a quiz show, and we put our own little fintech spin on it. So today, Will has very bravely put himself forward, and he's going to try and answer 10 devilish questions all about his preferred specialist subject. Now, we were going to do this against the clock, or we were going to do it against somebody else, but I think I'm just going to go through the questions. So we'll take it casual. We'll just take it nice and easy, Will. So, no pressure. But if you get less than 8, I will think less of you. Okay? So in mastermind style, to start with, could you please state your name?
Will Gerling.
And your occupation?
Writer, editor.
Debatable. And your specialist subject?
My specialist subject is music of the 1960s. Music
of the 1960s. How old are you, Will?
26, almost 27.
Okay, that wasn't the first question, by the way. I just wondered why someone 26 to 27 would have such a popular interest in 60s music. Why is that, before we start with the quiz?
I just really like it, It's a very creative time in music. It's there's no accounting for taste, is there?
Well, mate, look at me.
Exactly. As you know well, Scott.
As I know, I'm not one to judge anybody on taste. Okay. Okay. So if we were doing this against the clock, I would say, and we'd have some little countdown music. I would say your 60 seconds of popular music from the 60s starts now. Question 1: according to the official charts company, what was the biggest selling single of the 1960s?
Biggest selling single of the 1960s. Wow. Hey Jude.
No, right band, wrong song. It was the Beatles with She Loves You. Popular beat combo The Animals were formed in which UK city?
Newcastle.
Correct. Question 3. Name the song that these lyrics are from. All the leaves are brown and the sky is grey.
California Dreamin'.
By?
The Mamas and the Papas.
Mamas and the Papas. Okay, cool. How many number ones did the Beatles have in the 60s in the UK?
17.
Oh, he's only gone and got it. Yes. Good answer. Question 5. Which band? There's a lot of Beatles heavy references here. Which band were recording their first album at Abbey Road while the Beatles were recording Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band?
Pink Floyd.
Correct. Wow, he's on fire. Okay, this might trip you up. Who sang the classic Itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini.
I have no idea. Pass.
See, you know all the Beatles ones, don't you? You don't know Brian Hyland. Call yourself an aficionado.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. So, which 60s icon, poet, and troubadour recently celebrated his 80th birthday?
Mr. Robert Zimmerman, also known as Bob Dylan.
Correct. Who won the Eurovision Song Contest in 1967 with Puppet on a String?
Oh. I do know, but I'm going to pass.
Sandy Shaw.
Yes.
Can you name the other UK singer who won the same contest in the 1960s with the song Boom Bang a Lang?
Wasn't Lulu, was it?
It was Lulu.
It was.
It was. Oh, they don't write them like they used to, do they? Eh? Boom Bang a Lang. And in 1960, Elvis Presley, thank you very much, spent 8 weeks at #1 in the UK with It's Now or Never. Sing us the song.
It's now or never. That good enough?
It's close enough. Not quite. It started well. Ended quite badly. Okay, so let's see how many you got there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if we include Elvis Presley. So 7 out of 10, Will. And it's a good score, but I think I did say if you got less than 8 that I would think less of you.
Indeed.
Not that that's going to keep you up at night. Not having my whatever the word is. Okay, all right. Well, I think that's it. But before we go, I'm just wondering if Captain Kieran is still there, and if we can return to the ad break, because we were going to show one more video. So if that's possible, Kieran, can we have the Salesforce video that we had from this issue? Oh wow! I tell you what. I'm glad I wasn't doing something highly inappropriate then. I'm sure we make those videos longer than that these days, don't we? Do you know what? I think we'd better leave it there. I think we've managed to soldier through, and we did manage to get some of the video content going. I did say at the top of the show we were having some technical problems with our internet connection in BizClick HQ, so I do apologise to our readers. What we will do is we will bring you the full version of that video next time. I promise. There's a lot more to it than just the opening credits. But that's all I think for now. We've managed to flesh this baby out to 43 minutes. Congratulations to Will for getting 7 out of 10 in Mastermind. Shame on you all for not coming and having a go and taking him on. I can think of at least a few people in BizClick that I know would have been chomping at the bit. Matt Parker for one, probably, to do a bit of 60s music quiz. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for your comments as ever. If you want to find out more about anything that we've spoken about today, or if you actually want to see the video that we didn't just see, then you can just visit our websites. So go to fintechmagazine.com and insurtechdigital.com, and you'll be able to see our magazines. You'll be able to watch all the videos that we have and have not seen today, and of course you can catch all our news, all our analysis, and learn more about the live events and about the top 100 leaders and everything else fintech and insurtech. So all that remains is to say thank you to Will Girling.
Thank you.
And everybody have a fabulous weekend, and we'll see you all again in a week or two. Bye everyone.